Hello, I'm Nicole Orcullo. I am a CPA and entrepreneur, and this is my article and design podcast episode.
You're listening to Article and Design Podcast, a podcast made with love for Filipino freelancers, small business owners, and digital agencies. I am your host, Margaret Lopez. I am a digital marketing strategist for over 8 years now, and I created Article and Design. Be part of our 1 million mission in transforming 1 million Filipinos to becoming a super freelancer and live the life and work they love. Join me as I sit down and discuss with our fellow freelancers and business owners about their process, their monumental screw up, and the tips that they swear by to help you win in this freelance game forever. Hi, Filipino freelancers and business owners. This is Margaret, your host of the Article and Design Podcast, and we are back with a brand new episode. And I'm so excited ngayon sa episode na to, guys, because this is the first time I'm going to interview an accountant or a CPA. Let's welcome Nicole Orcullo. Nicole, thank you so much that you made it. Thank you so much for being in the show. Welcome, and I'm so excited to talk to you.
Hello, Margaret. Hi. Thank you for having me on your show. It's actually my honor to be here on your show and impart what I know to your listeners.
Hindi kami magkakalala ni Nicole personally, guys, but shout out to Lian Fernandez, yung guest natin sa episode 27. Siya yung common denominator namin ni Nicole. Lian told me about her kay Nicole, tapos nandito na kami ngayon.
Yeah, diba? Just imagine what technology can do.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
Nicole, I'm so excited. Tulad nga sinabi ko kanina, this is my first time interviewing an accountant.
I hope I do justice, though.
You will, for sure, you will. So I can't wait to hear more things about you, Nicole. I did a light stalking sa'yo, so I know personally anong ginagawa mo and everything. But for the benefit of our loyal listeners sa podcast natin, which are composed of freelancers at business owners, pwede ka ba magkwento? Can you tell us about you and what you do now, tsaka yung journey mo?
Sure, no problem. I am a CPA, is what Margaret has been saying over and over again. So I don't need to say it anymore. But aside from that, I revel more on being an entrepreneur and an educator. I have been practicing for more than 10 years now as an accountant. I have been employed or worked with the education sector, private companies. I've worked in private companies. And currently, I co-manage and co-own an accounting and audit firm with my husband, who is also a CPA. So my journey is, well, a bit as all journeys would go. It has a lot of twists and turns, but I am more or less fulfilled or happy where I am right now. For the benefit of our listeners, usually kasi when they say or when someone introduces themselves rather as an accountant or as accountant, so parang magaling siya sa math. No, people, I don't do algebra for breakfast and lunch. Yeah, it's a common na magaling kami sa math or mayayaman kaming tao. So it does not does not follow. What I do and what I like now no about what I do what sa work and all is that I get to meet a lot of people no, from different walks of life. And like for one, if it weren't for being an accountant, Margaret and I would be talking right now, diba? So yeah, so my journey has been interesting, no, and I look forward pa din to what is in store for me, our practice, no, and the clients that I will be meeting in the future.
So you mentioned that you have an accounting and audit firm with your husband.
Yeah,
Dalawa kayo both is a CPA.
yeah.
Wow, ang ganda ng combination, ano?
You're the
Wala
first
ka-
person to tell me.
You both know what you're into talaga. Ang misunderstanding na, bakit ginagawa? This is what CPA does. Yung mga ganun. Walang ganun. So, kasi both kayo CPA, di ba?
Yeah, both of us are CPAs.
Oo,
But I
so-
think naman, oo, I mean, it has its, it has its pros and cons. Oo. But happily naman, parang more on pros naman kami kaysa cons.
Nice.
Oo.
You've been employed sa isang corporate before.
Yes, I was. Mm-mm.
For how many years?
I was employed in a car dealership company
Mm-mm.
for around a year lang.
That's fine. Kasi bakit? Ako din, when my first job was,
Mm-mm.
I was employed in a corporate medical company din because I'm supposed to go to medicine. Nagtrabaho lang din ako. No, I'm sorry to make it about myself, but I'm just sharing
No
lang.
problem, no problem.
I think 1.5 year lang din ako sa corporate na yun eh. Sabi ko, I wanted to do something else. So I get you. So that's fine. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
oo.
You haven't experienced a corporate before ka gumawa ng sarili mong firm with your husband.
Yes. I
Nice.
experienced corporate, and at the same time, I also experienced having to work in another accounting and audit firm as well.
Ah, nice.
Oo. So, like what you mentioned, no, that you also had the same experience as I, na hindi ka masyadong nagtagal, is because siguro kasi I was in my 20s, early 20s back then. So, yung mindset ko is parang, why do I have to eat the whole cake if I know in the first slice na ayoko naman siya, that I don't like it. It's not delicious for me. So, I left ba? Parang si ano lang, si Ellen Adarma. Gwapo ko, I left. So, I decided na parang, okay, this might not be a good fit for me. That time, I believe na I had all the time in the world. So, I switched paths, but still in the same career.
Oo, yun nga eh. Ang maganda sa'yo kasi, Nicole, it's not about you hating the accounting eh. It's not
Mm-mm.
about you hating being an accountant. It's just that parang you're just switching it to having your own firm. Kasi unlike sa amin, ang nangyari kasi sa amin, sa iba, is we came from a medical field. Like in my case, I am a preparatory for medicine. Then, nandito ako ngayon, di ba? Sa
Mm-mm.
digital. Ang maganda sa'yo, what I really like about you is, it's just the same discipline, pero iba lang yung parang approach na.
That's
Ang
correct.
galing. I'm excited. Patikim pa lang yan. So now we know that Nicole is a CPA. She has an audit and accounting firm with her husband. Since you mentioned you're a CPA, or nakita ko dun sa Facebook mo, you're also a mentor, di ba?
Yep.
You're a mentor, and then you have this bookkeeping university na ginagawa.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you also teach people, diba, how to do bookkeeping and etc. With that background, Nicole, ano ba yung parang biggest advice mo? I'm sorry to, this is like an odd
No
nauseum.
problem.
Pinag-uusapan na natin lagi yung COVID pandemic. But
Yeah.
it's still existing eh, diba? It's still, hindi
True.
pa nga siya tapos hanggang ngayon. We all know na yung business owners natin and yung mga Filipino freelancers, which by the way are also business owners, affected tayo lahat eh, in any shape or
Mm-mm.
form. Yung nangyari yung pandemic. As an
Mm-mm.
accountant na may mga experience ka handling businesses or of course yung mga ganito, sa money management, ano yung advice mo? Pinaka-advice mo na ibibigay sa ating mga business owners or mga freelancers, how to make their business yung tinatawag natin na pandemic-proof.
Pandemic proof.
Oo.
Okay.
Well, of course, when it comes
Mm.
to the financial
Right.
aspect. Nila.
True. Oo. So I get that quite a lot. Being an accountant or taking up accountancy in college was not really in the books for me when I graduated from high school. I mean, I didn't even know what accountancy was. I knew that the thing that I wanted to do for the rest of my life as a career was that one, it has to have nothing to do with blood. The health profession is a no for me. I want to do a shout out to our healthcare professionals, for our health workers. They're doing a great job now. That's why my level of respect for them is really unparalleled. That is something I could never sikmura, or I could never do. So when I graduated from high school, it was like nothing with needles and everything. Second is, ayoko ng masyadong math. Kasi, like what I mentioned earlier, one of the Waterloo ko is math. I graduated kasi from a science high school wherein grabe yung math. And parang medyo na-trauma ako na, do we really have to learn this? Something ganyan. No? So, those were my two non-negotiables. Now, come summer towards the first semester of college, I was still undecided. My parents and I struck a bargain. So sabi niya, we are good with anything you want to take up for as long as, number one, hindi ka mag-shift in the middle of college, and you can make a living out of it. Even when that deal was struck, I still was undecided kasi there's a lot of things I wanted to do. You might mean when you are young and
Yeah.
you have a lot of things to do. You want world peace, you want to, 'di ba? Marami kang gustong gawin and all.
Exactly.
So, sabi ko, I'm still undecided. Any other, siguro senior high student out there who is still contemplating, they turn to their parents like, "Mapa, what do you suggest I take up?" 'Di ba? So, sabi ng parents ko, "Take up accountancy. Then you can go to law." Which was one thing that I was also contemplating at that time.
Right.
Sabi ko, "Okay, I'm sure it does not have anything to do with medicine or needles or cutting people up.
Mm.
So, does that have math?" Kasi I don't want math. Ayokong mag-calculus and stuff. Sabi niya, "It's very easy lang, plus minus lang 'yan." Yun yung very big budol ng life ko. So, plus minus lang 'yan, and then every time you do calculations, you have a calculator. So, at the time, okay, solve na ako nun. Sige, accountancy. And when I actually started college, I could not exactly say that I fell in love with it. It was kind of an acquired taste also for me. Kasi I found it attuned to my pace of thinking. And then I'm sure if you know someone who is an accountant, most, if not all of them, are really, how do I say this? Medyo slightly OC people or persons. I'm the type na I want to keep things organized. Although I'm not that very detailed, ayoko ng kalat something. So, parang the way that it was taught to us no, during university, it really attuned to me. I got to like it, much to my surprise. Even during the times na medyo nahihirapan ako, only because I was thinking na when I graduate, I'm pretty sure I will land a job and hindi ako magugutom. Kasi one thing that my parents, my elders, and even my teachers would say na kahit bagong graduate ka pa lang, even if you're not licensed yet and you try to apply for a job, no, kasi the mindset back then was that hindi pa more on entrepreneurship more on
Exactly.
you have to land a job after you graduate. After you graduate, you will certainly land a job kasi no business can survive without an accountant. That is what my teachers have been preaching since day one. So I was holding on to that. So okay, hindi ako magugutom. Maybe when I finally decide what to do with my life, then I have a fallback. So if there is something that I would want to echo or to advise business owners and freelancers, I know that each one of us has a burning passion leading to our ikigai and all that jazz. I would really advise to always have a plan B or something to fall back on. It being a fallback plan or a plan B, it is something that they can easily pivot to just in case that their main source of income will dry up. For example, onto more recent events, the COVID pandemic. Our firm caters mostly to micro businesses, small businesses, and even freelancers, startups, no, yung nagsisimula pa lang. We have clients na yung mga travel and tours, mga spas, ganun. So they really had to close doors, especially nung ECQ period. Most of them na yun lang yung alam nilang gawin, really went dry for a few months, I
Yeah.
think. Pero yung iba, I'm really amazed kasi I got to talk to them. Well, at first, of course, may iba na napaghinaan ng loob. But then there were some na grabe yung fighting spirit na imagine I got to interview kasi I also had parang a short show on our
Yeah,
firm not a podcast like yours, but parang a short show. And I got to interview him. He is a nurse by profession, but he ran a very successful travel agency for the past, I think, 10 years. But what really amazed me, Margaret, was that yung fallback niya is he launched a cloud kitchen na siya mismo yung nagluluto. Yung niche niya is really very narrow, which is curry. Wala kang makikitang iba. Curry lang talaga. And he was able to pull it off. Sabi ko, if this guy can do it, who's not to say that you can't, di ba?
Yeah, yeah.
So for Yeah, for business owners, they say that multitasking is a sin and that you cannot be great at two things. Pero
Mm.
siguro at this point in time, born out of necessity rather than choice, we really have to be proficient in more than one thing. Kasi ano na tayo survival mode na eh. I mean,
Mm.
last year was really survival mode.
Mm.
This time is like parang growth na again. Kasi nakasalampak tayo last year and it was really bad financially for small businesses and startup. To make it pandemic proof, always have a plan B, know where your strengths are. As early as now, if you're planning to have a business, make sure that this is something that can continue even if another pandemic will come,
Okay.
God forbid, in like 10 years or so. Make it sustainable. When I see sustainable, think among the lines of technology based kasi hindi na mawawala ang internet it's here to stay, or commodities based, no, food based. Maybe you can think along those lines. Also, very important thing that I would want to impart our business owners, no, especially our sole proprietors, no, sole traders natin. This is very basic, but I still see some who fail to practice
Nakakalimutan.
that.
Oo.
Oo, it's basic pero hindi pina-practice is
Hi, Filipino Freelancers. This is Margaret. I am a freelancer and a business owner. Let me tell you about a favorite tool I use to receive and send money overseas. I started to use this tool this year because of its lower fees than the other payment tools that I've been using. The tool is called Wise, or formerly known as Transferwise. Wise is an online account where you can send money abroad or get paid in other currencies. It is a lot cheaper than the other payment methods or platforms na nakasanayan natin, and there's no horror of your money being frozen or put on hold. It's a great payment tool sa tulad nating mga Filipino freelancers. For example, ako, as a freelancer, I live in Australia and I have a client in the UK. So what I do is I connect my Wise account in my invoicing app and I can receive the money in my currency fast and with lower fees. And as a business owner myself then, I send money to the freelancers in the Philippines and they don't get charged with ridiculous international fees. Most of all, it's free to create your Wise account. So you can open different currencies and can even order your own debit card and use that account to get paid or shop online sa mga tools na kailangan mo as a freelancer. Go to articleondesign.com/wise and learn more on how you can use this as a Filipino freelancer and save tons from international fees. After all, you've worked so hard and you deserve that money. So, paano gamitin ng Wise and paano mag-open ng Wise? Just go to articleondesign.com/wise and follow the steps in how you can use it now.
yung paghiwalayin yung business funds sa personal funds. If your business fails, then your business fails. Hindi ka kahig nun. I want to show our clients na there is no such thing as ideally failure-proof or business-proof na business for as long as yung business mo lang yung nag-fail. Hindi ka kasali. Kasi how can you pick yourself up after a failure if pati ikaw nalagpak ka? Kasi money makes it everything go around in business and well, in our lives also, no? Practically speaking, we would tell our clients na you have to have a separate bank account for that. And then make sure na business funds mo lang talaga yan. If you need to withdraw from that, then you have to record it and treat it as a debt you owe to your business. Otherwise, you will not have any form of discipline and you will go down along with your business.
Exactly.
Those are the things that I would advise our small business owners listening to us now, financial wise.
We have unwrapped a lot of things doon. And thank you so much for sharing your personal experience then in becoming an accountant. Gusto ko yung sinabi mo na hindi ibig sabihin accountant ka, like you're like a math wizard or something. Diba? Kasi like, even ako, Nicole, hindi ko masyado favorite ng mathematics. But of course, the basic and fundamentals of it, kailangan din natin malaman, diba? Yeah,
Oo naman. Oo.
Yeah, that's one thing na gusto kong sinabi mo na you don't have to be like a math wizard. Kasi like ikaw mismo sabi mo, hindi mo gusto ng mga calculus and everything. Diba? Imagine if you came from a science high school, I can only imagine yung mga calculus doon and algebra and so
Yeah. Oo.
And going back dun sa sinabi mo na advices mo sa ating small business owners at saka sa mga freelancers, which I have emphasized, as a freelancer, we are also a business eh. Diba?
True.
We are sole proprietors and traders na sinabi mo nga, traders. Ang ganda ng sinabi ni Nicole, guys, and you have to listen. You have to jot it down yung sinabi niya. You have to have a plan B. Okay? You have to have a fallback
Mhm.
plan. Tama yung sinabi mo, yung parang cliche na sinasabi ni Nicole na you have a diversified parang income
Portfolio, yeah,
portfolio.
oo.
Diba? Parang ganon.
Yes.
Margaret, di ba kailangan isa lang? Mag-focus ka lang sa isa. Ganito kasi
Mhm.
yan eh. Ang minimin dun sa mag-focus ka sa isa, it's approach mo sana dun. Pag ginagawa mo yung freelancing, gagawin mo siya. Focus ka dun at this, for example, parang at this certain period. But you have to have a plan B kung what if this freelancing hindi siya mag-work out.
True.
So,
That's
ganun yan eh.
correct.
Hindi naman sinasabi
Mhm.
na everyday mag-multitask ka lagi. Hindi naman ganun
Yeah.
yung sinasabi ni Nicole, guys. Eh. Sinasabi lang
Mhm,
niya na
mhm.
outside of what you're actually doing, you have to have a diversified portfolio or a plan B. The main
Mm.
lesson that we all experience ngayong pandemic, yung ating mga fellow freelancers and business owners, nung na-close ang borders and everything nag-lockdown, nawala na rin yung business nila. Diba?
True.
Oo, nawala
Mhm,
na.
mm.
Nawala na din yung freelancing nila, yung mga ganun. So, kasi yun lang. Nandun lang yung parang one basket lang eh. Diba? Yung tinatawag nila. So, guys,
Mm.
plan B. Kasi we have to be pragmatic about these things eh. Hindi naman
Mhm.
all the time, rainbows and butterflies lang, okay lang lagi. Diba?
True, 'di ba?
Oh,
Especially if you're an entrepreneur
mm,
na you cannot just expect to get something every 15th and 30th of the
mm,
month. You
mm,
have to work for your own food. So, 'pag mawawala na yung bush where you forage from, saan ka na hahanapin? Saan mo na
exactly.
yan hahanapin? You really have to, think outside of the box sometimes.
Mm,
And somehow, I can say na situations such as COVID-19 pushed entrepreneurs and even some employees to step out of their comfort zone and do things that hindi nila inakalang magagawa nila.
oo.
And they earn great from it.
Nice.
Oo.
Totoo yan, Nicole. I could really
Mm.
attest to that. And then, yung second na sinabi ni Nicole, guys, is yes. This is the common sense na hindi common practice eh. You're right. Yung isa-separate natin yung business funds and expenses sa personal. Yung iba, ginagawa nila, isang ATM lang, Nicole, nandun na lahat.
Yeah,
Pagdating ng
oo.
tax, naguguluhan ka na.
Yeah, oo.
Diba? Oo,
Tama,
tas wala,
tama.
wala ka ng discipline o personal ba to, business ba to, ganito, ganyan. So, hindi mo
Right,
na siya
right.
na-treat as a business eh. So, hindi siya
Mm.
nagiging common practice ng ating mga fellow sole traders or freelancers. Pero yes, guys, you heard it from a CPA. Narinig nyo sa accountant. Please, sa
Mm.
lahat na nakikinig ngayon na hindi pa nila sineseparate yung kanilang mga funds, please guys, make time to do that. Mas maganda pag ginawa mo siya at the onset eh, di ba Nicole?
True,
Mm.
oo.
Sa
Better
umpisa
to
pa lang.
start at the right foundation. Yep.
Totoo. And I think, Nicole, napanood ko yung sinasabi mong series na ginagawa mo is, yung title ba nun, yun ba yun yung mga castle
Yeah.
series?
Yeah, that's the one. Yung in-interview ko, he was one of those.
Mm.
Oo. So I
Oh,
think he
parang
was
nga.
episode 2 or something. Basta ang galing niya. So sabi ko na after we did that, I copied the link and I emailed it to all our clients na nag-close ng business. Kasi 'di ba nag-ECQ kami here in the Philippines starting March. So
Mm.
nung April and May, that was parang batch retirement of businesses na yung
Mm.
ginawa. I could feel them, no? Kasi if you have been a partner of a business from its registration, from the birth to the pains, you cannot help but feel
Yeah.
empathy for your client and for the business kasi parang naging baby mo na din yun eh. Parang anak mo na din yun na
Mm.
nakita mo from start tapos lumago and then now this. My husband and I, Ryan, decided na let's help in any way we can, kahit intangible lang. No? So part of the services kasi we do is if you are one of our clients, we consult you and we advise you professionally what you can do. So after I had that interview with that businessman, I sent the link. Sabi ko, you watch this. Maybe you will have your own eureka moment din. Baka there is still hope for the remaining, assets or the remaining resources that you have in your business kaysa sa ibenta mo lahat. Maybe you can still turn things around. Some of them were really, well, I hope they did take it to heart, no? Kasi sa ngayon, most of them shifted na talaga. Kasi like we have a client na travel and tour siya, travel agencies. They
Mm.
book tourist drives to Oslo, no, to see the whale shark. So
Mm.
apparently, hindi na siya nagagawa last year. So she shifted and she formed her own VA agency, which is doing great until now. In the words of Ross Geller, pivot, guys,
Friends.
pivot,
Pivot.
pivot. Oo, pivot
I know that.
talaga.
I know that
Mhm.
scene.
Yeah, I'm a Friends fan. Sorry. So,
I've watched Friends din eh.
yeah. So yun, that was the buzzword for the year
Oo.
sa business industry. You should learn how to pivot, and when you pivot, pivot fast.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. Totoo. The nice thing here, guys, is you heard it from Nicole na, okay, if wala pa kayo, and to those that start sa business or being a freelancer, you have to take this into consideration. Okay, you have to have a fallback plan. You have to separate everything. And then yung plan mo dapat is, yung nga sinabi ni Nicole, it has to be sustainable. Yung pwede siyang
Mm-hmm.
technology based. Kasi nga, of course, we all know how the technology really ruled us this
Yep.
pandemic. Kung wala yung technology, hindi kami nag-uusap ni Nicole ngayon eh.
Right.
Diba?
Diba?
So, you can just
Mm-mm.
imagine. I can't emphasize this enough. Please take heed sa sinabi ni Nicole. That's one of the reasons then bakit nasimula itong podcast natin, Nicole. Kasi nga,
Mm.
mga Filipinos na nawalan ng trabaho. So, we're
Right.
trying to help them to navigate yung landscape ng freelancing and business. You mentioned kanina, no, na nakapagtrabaho ka saglit sa isang corporate. Tapos, since 2020 until now, maraming nakapag-realize na meron palang mga entrepreneurship within them. So, parang business owners pala din sila and gusto nila gumawa ng business. As a business owner and a previous employer, anong advice mo sa everyone na nagka-transition from unemployed to parang creating their own startup? Kasi ikaw, you're helping startups, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Yung
Mm-hmm.
ma-advise mo sa kanila. Just one piece of advice lang.
I would advise them not to jump into entrepreneurship with both feet agad-agad. Same as my advice to business owners earlier, you have to have a plan B, a safety net. Now, usually, from what I observe is that if you're an employee and then you want to have a plan B, that's where you put entrepreneurship. Kasi you can do that at the side, di ba? That's why we have side hustles to supplement our income kung hindi siya sapat from our 9 to 5 na income. If you have the business acumen and then you think that you would earn more sa side hustle mo and you don't need to be a numbers person talaga. But if you can see and observe that you're earning a bit more sa business mo and if you would put more time dun sa business mo, you can see its potential earning more than your 9 to 5, then if you really want to do it full time, then that's the time you have to do it full time. In business, there is no such thing as certainty,
Yes.
no, especially if you have a family to feed. I am also an advisor. I'm a licensed advisor, no? So I do this full time. One thing I tell my team, I ask them if they have a fallback plan. So when they say na hindi, so sabi ko, I want them to think about it very thoroughly. Kung gusto nila talagang mag full time. I tell them again, our story when both of us started na we were employed, both of us went into a business, running a firm na we didn't really have a backup plan. Looking back, parang ang scary noon, di ba? It seemed that we dodged a bullet. Some might not be so lucky. They have to think about it, no?
You were just fortunate. It worked for you guys.
Yeah. We were just really we were blessed and we were fortunate that it turned out okay, but it wasn't easy naman. But I don't think that we had that much of a hard time naman din, no. It was a bit rocky when we started to establish ourselves as authorities. In hindsight, talagang, oh my goodness, if I could just, talk to my former self like 5 years ago, sabihin ko, parang iba, parang iba yung i-advise ko sa sarili ko. So, yun. Oo. So, if you're planning to transition, meaning you're from full-time employee to full-time entrepreneur, think about it tenfold, hundredfold. No? And be very certain with your target market. See to it is a group of people or it is an industry that you can serve for a long time. As much as possible, we don't want to serve fads, no, or trends lang. Kasi if you're going to make it your livelihood, might as well do it for the long run.
Good advice, Nicole, no? Sinasabi ko din sa mga employed natin na mga employed in corporate tapos gusto nila mag-start ng kanilang mga, for example, mga digital agency na you can treat the digital agency as a side hustle muna. Parang gano'n. Then, keeping your toes dahan-dahan lang. Yung mga tulad sa atin na nag-start ng business, wala tayong idea noon eh. Nag-jump lang talaga tayo kaagad eh. Parang napaka-rebellious nga in a way. At tapos nakakatakot kung isipin mo ngayon, diba? Kasi I think nung panahon din natin, wala masyadong nag-a-advise eh, no? Walang mga ganitong podcast. Kung meron man, konti lang.
Wala nga. Oo.
Sure, wala. Yung time ko wala talaga. So, yeah, we're lucky right now, guys. Kasi meron tayong mga Nicole, meron tayong mga hassle series, mga ganon, mga whatnots, the podcast na mag-advise sa atin ng mga, kasi mga sinasabi din namin ngayon, guys, are mga mistakes din namin before. Diba? But yeah, Nicole is right. Hindi lahat nung nag-start ng business is they're lucky. Tulad kila Nicole na it turned out really good. Ideally, ganun sana, may business na hindi talaga din mag-work. You have to really think about it 100-fold. I would advise people, when you're So, Nicole, you mentioned kanina yung experience mo sa industry na to for many years na rin, you've been dealing with a lot of startups, entrepreneurs, mga micro-business, saka yung mga freelancers din, mga starting an agency, mga ganun. Ano yung parang napansin mo na, and pretty sure ako doon, napansin mo talaga, na 3 common mistakes na kinukommit nila lagi. And paano natin i-avoid to?
Tatlo lang ba? Tatlo lang ba? Sige, I will try and narrow it down to 3, no? So first thing that I noticed, and I try my best to steer them away from doing this, no? Especially mga kakilala ko, is that when they see someone doing well in a certain business, they try to copy that person. I'm not sure if you know this or not, or your listeners know this or not, but I tend to categorize people as employee and entrepreneur. Not all employees can be entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are usually, and forgive the term, lousy employees. No, so kasi there are certain personalities that work well with routine, no, as an employee. But there are some people na, kasi kung entrepreneur ka, tell me if you can relate, yung parang ayaw mong masyadong nasasabihan ka, ayaw mong i-micromanage ka, you have ideas that you want to implement, but then the rest of your team binabara ka. But you know that this will work, ganyan. So you have that drive to really put to fruition yung idea mo. So those, for me, are traits of a really good entrepreneur, no? When you have that grit to pursue, no, a concept, an idea, and to fuel it with either your money, or you have the face to pitch investors, then you will really flourish, no? Kasi sa attitude naman yan. But I also believe na may mga employees talaga who are more on the safe side for whatever reasons they may have, na sa tingin ko, when I talk to a certain person and he or she is telling me that they want to start a business, and when I talk to them, at the back of my mind, I can already tell hindi to magtatagal. Hindi, parang it's not for the faint-hearted, mind you. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. So if you're afraid of failing, if you're afraid of being rejected, if you always want to have someone telling you what to do, if you want to start a business, siguro that person would be fit as a capitalist partner. Yung tagabigay lang ng capital, and then let someone do all the legwork and everything else. So you could be a passive entrepreneur in that case.
Partner, kumbaga.
Yes, or an investor, no? Yung returns lang yung aabutin mo, rather than someone who really does the legwork for everything. When you are thinking of starting a business, try and reflect. Do you see yourself doing this next year? Or in 3 years? Or in 5 years? If I sense hesitation, ito na. Parang nadala lang to kasi malakas eh. Yun, then magpaparegister ka na. You go through all the hoops that a business needs to be legally operating, only to find out na, I don't think this is gonna work for me. Sayang naman din. So you really have to have it within you to wade through entrepreneurship. Second is,
hey, do you want to become a super freelancer? A super freelancer is a highly paid, creative, happy, and globally competitive freelancer. If you want to become one, you can enroll in our Super Freelancers course, 21 Steps to Fast Track Your Freelancing Business. We will teach you how to create systems, automate some of your workload, and how to avoid the feast and famine situation of chasing clients after clients. So go to articleanddesigncourses.com and use the coupon code PODCASTFRIEND to get your 400 pesos discount. This is exclusive to our podcast listeners only. So see you there.
A common mistake is, again, I would also revert to what I said earlier, yung the mingling of funds. Yun, talagang, di ba, you can tell siguro by now na medyo peeve, peeve talaga yung minimingko yung funds. Although I understand it cannot be helped sometimes. Pero sa ngayon naman, there are a lot of innovations, no, especially in banking, na you can open an account with no maintaining balance at all, and then put your business funds or your personal funds there. So, para magkahiwalay lang siya. So, that is one mistake also. And third is, this time I am putting on my accountant hat and not my business person hat. Third is not really minding their compliance and tax obligations. You might get away in
For a
the
while.
beginning, yeah, but it will bite you in the bottom few years after. I mean, we would really want to instill to budding entrepreneurs or yung entrepreneurs ngayon na if you are in it for a while now and then you want to grow, you have to check your books talaga, no? And then pay taxes honestly, consistently. Don't be amiss with your obligations. Otherwise, it will come back to haunt you.
Oo, that's true. It will
Mm.
boomerang in the end, Nicole eh.
Yes.
Matatakasan mo nga siya ngayon, pero babalik
Ngayon.
din sa'yo eh. Diba?
Yes. Oo. And when the taxman comes after you, he will
May
really
shock
hunt you
ka.
down.
Oo.
Yeah. Oo. And I am talking about that on a very objective view. Kasi as an accountant, as an advisor, we work naman din favor of our clients. But we also would want them to understand objectively where we are coming from. So that is how we operate. That's why siguro we have clients that have been with us since the start of their business and since the start of our practice, our firm. Kasi what we do is we make them understand. We don't engage with them or we don't move on to the next step until they understand why we have to do this, why we are asking this much for the government, no, to remit to the government, unless they understand.
That's a good practice that you're doing sa firm, Nicola, no? That you're letting
Mm-mm.
clients talaga to, hey, we're not here treating you as a cash cow. Bayaran nyo lang kami. We're here to actually help you din eh. You have to
Right.
understand why we need to do this and
Mm-mm.
what you're up to. Yeah, ang ganda ng practice na yan. And a few business owners na lang yung mga ganyan, Nicole eh. Yung mga care talaga sa kanilang clientele eh. So, yeah, thank you for doing that. Just summarize lang sinabi ni Nicole, no? 3 important things eh. 3 common mistakes na ginagawa natin as a starting business owners or entrepreneurs. Tapos, paano natin siya i-avoid? So, first is yung sinasabi nga niya, you have to do parang self-audit mo. Are you really cut for this? Or baka nadala ka lang sa phenomenon, kumbaga.
Yes. Kasi diba, diba, Margaret, there are some who harp na, you be a business owner. You have financial freedom. You have a lot of time on your hand. Kasi they are glorifying or romanticizing too much yung entrepreneurship na it would probably be nice or great in the long run, but you have to go through the gore of it. You asked me before yung sa transitioning from being an employee to an entrepreneur. Kasi one of the things that you might be thinking is, I don't like my work kasi wala akong time for myself and stuff. If you are complaining about being stuck in work 9 to 5, if you're an entrepreneur, para 24/7 kang stuck dyan sa ano mo. If you think you can handle that, then by all means. Pero if not, you might want to take it slow. Oo, kasi those are misconceptions that are being spewed all over the internet by some guru here and there na being an entrepreneur gives you financial freedom and all. No, so
I agree, Nicole. Talaga, like, especially din sa ating mga kapwa freelancers, ano? Because we're running a community sa ating article design. We have this like small community 6 a.m. club na ginawa namin where we wake up at 6 a.m. So it has
Nice.
been shared din sa akin na there are some gurus nga na they call themselves as coaches or whatever na tinuturo sa kanila. Ang approach sa kanila is you start the freelancing world or start being your own boss, create your own business to have this financial freedom. For this to be parang easy lang siya. You can earn 6 figures ganito
Yeah.
in a short amount of time. So, ang nangyayari sa mga tao is, okay, they buy that idea, no, that very brilliant idea na, hey, I could become a freelancer, but a business owner myself in this short amount of time, the 6 figures ka agad. Hey, I want that. Diba? So they said,
I mean, who would not want
who would
that,
want, of
diba?
course. I
Oo.
want that. Pagkatapos ang nangyayari, kasi ang approach doon, ang tinuro ng coach is madali lang daw. Tapos yung nandun na sila sa, the real cutthroat competition talaga. Diba? The real thing in business. Pag nandun na sila, Nicole, nagkukwit na sila at the first sign of failure. Kasi sabi nila, madali lang. Pagkatapos, hindi ko naman pala kaya.
Right.
Dami na
Oo.
nilang nasaya. Nag-spend sila ng, I don't know, 20,000 pesos for a course or whatever. Diba?
Right.
Yeah, so,
Oo.
kaya nga sinasabi ko sa article and design na community natin, Nicole, na you know what, sa totoo lang talaga, entrepreneurship or starting your own business or being a freelancer, napakahirap niya. Kasi like in my case, before when I started article and design in 2012, I worked at least 12 to 14 hours per day, Nicole, eh. Diba? And then,
Diba?
I worked 12 to 14 hours per day noon kasi nag-work hard talaga ako to keep the business talaga na everything talaga sinimulan namin from the ground up eh. And then bootstrap kasi yung article and design hindi siya funded or anything. So from my own money lang
I
siya.
feel you.
Diba?
I feel you.
So it's really hard talaga. So that's why yung galing natin yung sinabi mo na romanticization and glorification na glorify nila na hey, it's easy, freedom, life.
They're making it look like an iceberg, really.
Exactly.
That's why there are people who are asking me for my advice. Like, parang, just put one foot in the water muna. Check if the depth is for you. If not, then don't. Throughout my career, and I've seen a lot of, freelancers make it, like Lian, like you, and like your other guests, no? Na they're really doing well kasi they're really good at what they do. You're really good at what they do. But for some people who are blinded by the shiny object that they see, no, parang I mean, if you have that spidey sense to know na this is not for me, this will not last long, might as well take preventive control earlier.
Totoo. Kasi prevention is better than cure. Diba?
Very much so. Very much so.
You mentioned that, Nicola, no? Kasi it just doesn't apply sa freelancing. It applies to everything eh. Especially sa yung mga gustong magsimula ng business. Na, yun nga, sinasabi nila, pagod na ako sa employee. Ayoko na mag-commute. So, mag-business na ako ganito. Wala ka nga commute. You can work from home sometimes, but it's not like as glamorous as it looks like.
Yes,
diba? You have to put in the work talaga. So, at the onset, you have to check muna if this is really for you or baka kasi mag-waste ka ng time eh. For you to know, yung sinabi ni Nicole guys na dahan-dahan lang. And then second, napaka-importante, which is we have to re-echo din yung sinasabi ni Nicole pabalik-balik, which is peeve nga niya, yung isa-separate natin yung funds natin. You will hate me kasi nung nag-umpisa ako ni Nicole noong 2011, ganun din ako eh. Isa lang yung aking business at saka yung personal eh. Well, that was 2000. Forgive me, Nicole.
Yeah. I mean, we learn. Kasi ako naman, admittedly, I wasn't the perfect start-up. There are times na nakakaligtaan ko talaga, but natututo naman tayo from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, technology has made it easier for us to do so. Kung hindi mo pa talaga magawa, sa'yo na yun.
Exactly. May mga bank apps na, mobile banking din. Ang maganda ngayon, mayroon tayong mga accounting na softwares eh. I rely heavily sa mga accounting softwares, to be honest, when I run my business. So yeah, there's accounting softwares and everything that you can use, guys. Talagang totally makakatulong siya even if you're a freelancer. I'm pretty sure may mga ganun sa Philippines, diba? ng
Yes,
mga
yes.
softwares, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, may ideas si Nicole, guys. Just visit her page sa mga ganon. So, yeah, separate the funds. And then, of course, tax obligations. We have to be responsible business owners and of course, our freelancers. Kasi habulin tayo niyan eh. We're a
Yep.
sound citizen. Di ba? If you're a citizen of the Philippines, mas maganda din naman na gawin natin yung obligations natin. Dito sa Article and
Mm-hmm.
Design, meron kaming episode talaga na pinag-usapan namin yung how to register their business as a sole
Mm-hmm.
proprietor or a business din na parang a corporate episode. Season 1 ata namin yun. As in talagang diniscuss namin doon how important it is na we have to register and to file our tax, get our TFN or yung TIN na
Yep.
tinatawag at the onset kung
Mm-hmm.
wala pa kayo. I agree, Nicole. These are the common mistakes na kinakaligtaan ng ating mga kapwa. Pero we're not here naman, guys, to judge you. We're here to
To
remind you na,
help.
diba?
Yeah.
Oo, to remind you and
Oo.
to help. Kasi like us, then, nung nag-umpisa kami, may mga mistakes kami. Diba? Ako nga, for first year,
Right.
wala akong separate funds. Nicole, there's one thing na na-notice ka dun sa profile mo while I was talking you. You posted something and then you were so excited about this BBW ba yun? Big Bad Wolf? Something sale in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Yun ba yung massive book sale? Diba?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that post of yours. Quick question lang. Just random, what's on your mind right now? Ano yung one
Mm-hmm.
book na isa adjustment to everyone, to our aspiring business owners or freelancers na in line
Oh.
business or
Okay.
money management? Just
Mm.
random lang. Ano naisip mo ngayon?
Random lang. And it so happens that the book is here on my desk.
Nice.
I'm currently reading that. Pero hindi siya BBW. Nabili ko siya before.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Right.
I've just started to read it kasi I got the hardcover with the things that I am dealing with every day. Parang hindi ko na siya nababasa fully. So what I did, like any other self-respecting busy person would do, I bought the audiobook version and I listened to it. Ang ganda niya. So I won't spoil it na lang for the rest of the listeners. But believe me, if you're an entrepreneur or if you have trouble focusing or setting the pace of your day, of your week, or of your career, you might want to read it as
Yeah.
well.
Uh-oh.
Oo. So, ang ganda niya, as in, ang ganda niya. I also have another recommendation. It was recommended also to me by my friend. The author is yung owner ng It Cosmetics, yung si Jamie Kern. Believe It, I think. Yeah, Believe
I
It.
haven't read that yet.
Yeah, Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima. Ang ganda niya. So it is a story of an entrepreneur na because of her imperfection. So she made something out of it. She made a great thing out of her imperfection. Siguro another advice, if I may, no, Margaret, if you are planning to start a business and then you don't have an idea pa of what to start, I do believe you don't need to look so far. Think of something that you might have a problem with. For example, if you are very unhappy with, let's say, the food delivery service in your area, is there something that you can do to solve that? Na within your means lang, you can do that. Like Miss Jamie, the author of the book I mentioned earlier, she had a skin condition, rosacea, yung parang red sa mukha. That prompted her to make her own line of beauty products, which really blew up. That had her partnered with a bigger cosmetics company. So, it really depends. Kasi business, I'm pretty sure you will agree with me with this, no, is you can only be successful in a certain line of business if you are able to solve a problem or present a solution to someone who needs it. But if you're just presenting something that is wala lang, just because it looks nice, it will be there for a short time and not be sustainable. I also apply that to the other businesses that I run now. I co-found a bookstore, a textbook bookstore here in the South, dito sa Cebu, because when I was still teaching full-time, we had a huge logistical problem with our textbooks for our students.
Mm.
As a teacher, this is not good. Bakit ang bababa lang ng quantities that we get? Why do we not get very good authors sa school? That was a problem. Not just my problem, but problem of other teachers as well. So that was what we aim to solve. That's why my business was
Very good.
born. Going on for since 2017. So that is around 4 years strong now.
We call that sa article and design a sweet spot. It's a
Right.
profitable skill to offer, something that you also wanted to do or deliver, and then something that the market will pay for it. Because if it's just like something that you want lang, kasi nice or cool, it's not for
Mm.
longevity. It's not sustainable in the long run. Doing that, it has to be a problem. It may be your problem, tapos problem din ng iba. Ang ganda.
Yep.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs na doon nagsimula kung ano yung problema nila mismo sa kanilang household niya, ini-invent nila eh. Tapos naging ganun. Yeah, that's a really good advice, Nicole. And thank you for sharing us a lot of good tidbits today.
Knowledge is supposed to be shared,
Yes.
not kept to oneself.
Thank you so much. So, guys, 2 books that Nicole is suggesting. Atomic Habits, which I also agree, by James Clear. Ang galing talaga. Kahit ako din, na-transform yung aking productivity dahil doon. Yeah, Atomic Habits, and then yung Believe It. Babasahin ko yan. Hindi ko pa yung nabasa. Ilalagay namin yung link, guys, if you want to read those books. And thank you so much for sharing that, Nicole. And gusto pa kita sana i-keep, pero medyo matagal na. Next time na naman, no? Invite
No problem.
Hopefully, bumalik ka. Where can our listeners, Nicole, connect with you online? And then yung mga project mo or business mo, if they wanted to consult with you, can you let us know? Saan sila pwede mag-connect with you directly to those who are listening right now?
You can contact us via our website. Our firm's website is www.yoursupercpa.com. That's our website. It's there that you can find what we do as a firm, our services, and we also have a page there dedicated to Bookkeeping University PH. If you are a business owner or an office assistant or an admin officer who is tasked with basic bookkeeping tasks, but you do not have any background in accounting, then we will mentor you with regards to that. We'll be having our next batch of bookkeeping sessions starting August. Our classes always are on weekends. So that is 4 sessions each batch. So what we do is we equip you with basic bookkeeping knowledge. So the basics for you to understand the financial health of your business, and not to be duped by other, fly-by-night bookkeepers or pseudo accountants. Those are sad stories. So that you can also be aware of how your business is doing. And another project that I am working on is, I've mentioned earlier that I co-own a bookstore.
Yep.
So we are putting more titles. We actually specialize in accounting, business, and tax books. If you need supply for your schools or your business, you can visit us at www.LinkedSolPH, that's LinkedSolPH.com, to see our title. So it's more textbooks, but we also are on Shopee with the same username to make it more accessible and affordable for students. Oo, kasi we have a soft spot for students because my co-founders and I are teachers. We are also slowly evolving into a tutorial and training company for students also. We have naman a contact page naman for that. But I can also be contacted via email.
Yeah, all of the links actually that you mentioned, we're going to add it here. They could check it out. Because there's a lot of things na mga ginagawa ni Nicole, guys. She's a CPA, she's also a mentor, she has this bookstore, etc. And nasa Shopee na siya, ha?
Yeah.
Mas madali. Thank you, Shopee. Yun ba yun?
Salamat, Shopee.
Shopee. Ganun. And all of those things na minention ni Nicole, guys, we're gonna add the links here so you can check it out and connect with her. Thank you so much, Nicole. And of course, you can email her directly then. And I will add that email here. Nicole, thank you so much. You're amazing, Sobra.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me on your
Of
podcast.
course. I learned so much in this episode, Nicole, and I'm pretty sure our listeners will learn a lot too. Yung ating mga business owners and mga freelancers natin. And thanks for giving us your time ngayon and all the best sa business mo, ventures mo. And Nicole, I hope to see you and Lian sa Cebu if ever I get myself lost there.
Soon.
Okay.
Soon. Just give me
Yeah.
a call.
Any other things, Nicole? Any last words that you want to tell our listeners right now before we end this episode of yours?
I would like to end my episode for saying na keep safe. As we say here in Cebu, lawas ra ang puhunan. That means health is wealth, di ba? Simply put, it really pays to take care of our physical body so that we will be able to do great things pa as professionals, as entrepreneurs, and as society problem solvers. That is basically what is important right now.
So thank you so much, Nicole, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this, please leave us a review on our Facebook page, Article and Design. Please also follow us on our YouTube channel called Article and Design for more tips on freelancing and business. And if you want to go to the next level, check out our courses at articleanddesigncourses.com. See ya!